Previously on Repurposed.
Why are we making repurposed? Because steel doesn't get made in this country without the recycling industry. If you think of the car you drove in today, or that bus you went into, or that refrigerator you opened today to get your food out, at the end of its life, before it goes to the steel mill, it's a chunk you could hold in your hand. From a metal recycling facility, which we were at the day before at Alter, and you actually see some of the trucks from the same metal we saw processed arrives at the mill, you start understanding the marriage. And yet, it all starts with safety.
Safety is a holistic approach, and it has to be ingrained in every process that we have within our facility.
And then you look at an electric arc furnace that takes recycled product, makes it into new in the most effective, efficient way possible.
Picked that ladle up, moved it over, and then poured some of the slag off. As it's pulled through the casting machine, that's probably some of your contained magic, where out of the bottom comes solid steel.
Wow, all right, we're just seeing the slab fitted into the roller. We're going to be making a coil. Imagine this, it starts at 6 inches, and this coil could be as much as half inch or lower. So it's going to be reduced a lot. What a process.
If we look at steel in the United States, the vast majority of steel produced in this country is produced in what's called an electric arc furnace, or an EAF.
How do you get 6-inch slabs of steel and get it down to 1/4-inch coils that weigh 78,000 pounds? The process is, for an analogy purposes, is a lot like rolling dough. It just keeps compressing it, stretching it, stretching it, stretching it, stretching it, to where now you've got the size you're looking for whatever's being sold.
When you look at what the largest contributors are to carbon gas emissions throughout the economy, globally, the steel industry is about 7%, a 7% contribution. So it is a sector for which there's a lot of attention. The good news is here in the US, we lead, I think, in the world, but we have one of the highest, if not the highest, percentage of electric arc furnace production or facilities of anywhere in the world. And that leads to a much smaller global carbon footprint from the U.S. steel making or steel industry as compared to the steel industry in other parts of the world.
You know, the point here is making of new steel isn't just an accident. There is a lot of science and engineering that goes into the making of new steel. And this is underappreciated in the marketplace because not everybody understands what they're looking at. They just, it's steel. No, steel has different grades and different properties for different industries. So on the last day of our tour of the mill, we got to go to the Research and Development Department at SSAB, and we met with a gentleman by the name of Sunday Abraham.
My name is Sunday Abraham. I'm the Director of Research and Development Department of SSAB.
And probably the most fascinating part about it was him describing the fact that at SSAB in Iowa, their steel is being made fossil-free.
SSAB is at the forefront of fossil-free steelmaking process. And then here we are, we're supplying steel also to a windmill in order to produce renewable electrical energy. So if you look at that, it becomes like a circular economy.
My name is Jerry Krantz. I'm the General Manager of Commercial Products, Commercial Sales here at our Montpelier facility in Montpelier, Iowa. My family gets tired of me saying of all the things I point out that our steel has gone into, whether it be the I-74 bridge, a wind tower out in the field that you see spitting. The most recent, I think the most recently built stadium in Las Vegas. We had a lot of steel in that project.
A year and some maybe a year and a half ago, we produced the first new steel that is called EQ47. This is for icebreaker application, also for the marine industry.
Without the steel industry, a lot of products you use today aren't available. It's just plain and simple.
This is called the Ultra Scanning Electron Microscope.
This is electron
scanning electron microscope. So what this does is that this allows us to investigate the internal quality of the steel that we make.
How do we not create waste in an attempt to save energy? So the idea is to make every step and everything you do move slowly and slowly toward the same goal. We want to be more efficient, we want to be more energy efficient, we want to be less impactful to our environment, we want to support the communities we're in, and we want to make sure that we're producing green steel in the world that supports where we live.
You know, you can't just walk a steel mill in 5 minutes. You can't go from the melt shop to the finish yard. It's a vast facility, it's enormous. And you get a real appreciation of what goes into building the steel mill. Not only the people who engineer and build the actual mill itself, but to the people who actually run it and keep it going on a daily basis. The maintenance, the technological people, the engineers that are required to keep this mill functioning on a daily basis. And quite frankly, this mill sustains our daily life with products that we use every day. And to me, I got a real appreciation for all the employees of this plant. To me, they're heroes. But you know, nobody's gonna think as a steel maker is a hero. You know, we all know our first responders are heroes. But you know, if you stop and think about it, these people who make this new steel, we use it every day in our lives. And without them, our lives would be completely different.
The electrical grid is really an amazing thing when we consider the fact that we so rely upon electricity. We take it for granted that we flip the switch and the light comes on. As dusk settles in each night, we turn on our lights. We don't think about it. We tune into our Netflix series and the television pops on and it's powered by electricity. The electrical grid is a sensitive piece of infrastructure. It relies upon transmission lines, it relies upon power stations, generating plants, it relies upon transformers, it relies upon the final wires that come down into our homes, whether they come underground or come above ground. And in every case, all of that infrastructure relies upon recycled content steel. It's a steel tower. The way that the transmission lines are held up is through a steel cable. They're wrapped around a steel cable so that the transmission line doesn't fall down. And that's true all the way across our great nation. And it's all thanks to the recycled supply chain.
What are you looking for? Cars with steel on it.
Wow, this looks like a real sport.
Okay, here's plate coming out of SSAB right there. That's a gondola here that carries recycled metal. Yes, here we go. Here's more plate. That's plate from SSAB. Now that's after they take the slabs and they heat them up and re-roll them to that. There's a gondola. These gondolas here is what carry recycled iron to the steel mill. They're empty now, going back to people to into recycling facilities that will take their prepared recycled iron, put it in it, ship it back to mills all over. Those cars may not end up here, but they're going to end up at a steel mill somewhere.
This all comes down to people. People that do research and development. People that work inside the mill to make it all happen. And I had the honor and the privilege to meet with a father and his two sons, the Ogden family. You know, you have something here that I just, like I said, I'm so excited to do this. You know, my dad, at the time we got interviewed, there was my dad and my brother and I, so, you know, let's honor Pops and because it's the reason you guys are here.
All right, I'm Russ Ogden Jr. I've been with SSAB now for 27 years.
As we sat around and talked about why they are working at the steel mill, following their father into the steel industry. And it comes down to the fact that they have great opportunity, great work, be it blue collar, be it white collar, doesn't matter. SSAB provides great paying jobs that sustain families and generations to support their families and their future families.
I'm Russ Ogden III. I go by Trey. I've been with SSAB now for 11 months, and I work in the technical services department.
It's a tremendous story, and it's heartfelt. You see the pride of the father and his two sons and the two brothers who are 10 years apart, who actually admire each other because they're on the same path.
I am Connor Ogden. I am the youngest of the family. I am 19 years old, I've been here for about a year now, almost. Oh, no.
You've been here about 3 months.
It seems like a year. Go ahead. Yeah, come on now.
And you as a father, are you encouraging your sons to come on in? Is it something they want to follow in your footsteps? Tell us how you as a father have worked with your 2 sons and they're here now.
I believe that they should make their own choice. I wanted to see both my sons successful. I wanted to see them go to college.
This father has to make a tough decision whether or not to tell his kids to follow in his footsteps into the steel industry, for that matter to SSAB. But he knows that this company takes safety serious, takes everything they do in a very serious way, that he knows his sons, A, are going to be protected, and B, they have a future because this company's investing. This company is investing in technologies and in the research to make better steel, to use clean energy, renewable energy to make new steel, to make this company a company that is sustainable for future generations.
Going into after high school and what I wanted to do is not what I'm doing now. I actually changed my mind and I really like what I do now, and this is actually my new passion, and I found that, and what I'm doing in the steel industry is it's great. This company's great benefits. They're just helping me drastically to the position I'm actually in. I'm the first apprenticeship ever out here. The school ever. They pay for my school. It's a blessing.
You know, during the interview process, it becomes clearly apparent that this father and his 2 sons feel they are in the right place, the right industry, because SSAB is a sustainable company. And this family sees that sustainability as their future. And they know that their families and down the generations to come will have the opportunity to work there and to have a sustainable life with SSAB. It's an incredible experience. This bridge here from Moline, Illinois to Davenport, Iowa, as we cross the mighty Mississippi. The steel, everything made of steel on this bridge. All of this coming from facilities across the Midwest and the South and the North of the U.S. And that recycled iron that are brought into our facilities made all the new steel that goes here. So all the highways and bridges that you cross and roads, without the recycled iron, you don't make any of this.
As we're moving towards a more circular economy and a global economy that is less dependent on manufacturing that results in carbon gas emissions or greenhouse gas emissions, and we look for technologies and routes of manufacturing that will produce lower greenhouse gas emissions, the logical answer is to use more and more recycled materials. There's also going to be far greater demand for these materials going forward, because when you think about put aside recycling for a minute, but you think about what technologies and what the growth sectors are in a world of decarbonization. And one of the large areas, for example, we look at the switch from combustion engines to electric engines in cars, automobiles. What does that require? That requires electric batteries. What does that require? That requires greater amounts of lithium, cobalt, it's got copper. Think about what's needed for increased electrification, which we're going to rely on more and more. That requires certainly more copper, but also more steel. Well, there have been studies that have been done by IMF. I've seen studies out of the World Bank, as well as by some of the private consulting firms that look at future trends and economic trends. And when you look at what the demands are going forward for those materials, there is going to be an incredible need to the only way to meet that demand is going to be through recycled materials.
All right, so
At the end of the day, we're finished our filming, we're back at the hotel, and my crew's sitting around, we're all having a drink and having something to eat, and then of course I start talking to the bartender there about what it is we do and all the different things that touches his life, and there they are chuckling at me. There goes John again.
Every piece of iron, metal you see,
Okay.
over 70% of it is made from recycled iron. It's paper, recycled paper. And so we're doing a docuseries on the fact, and how recycling materials impact our daily life. Everybody always focuses on plastic, but where the rubber meets the road is steel industry. Anything made of steel today is most likely made from recycled iron.
Right. But you know what? I am passionate about it. And I make no apologies for being passionate about it, because this is a great story. We have a great industry, and this is what makes our lives better on a daily basis. And it's been an honor and privilege to travel this country, to meet with people, to talk to people about this, and to talk to the people who do this on a daily basis. It's been a great journey. And I'm going to tell you this, I'm going to continue this journey downstream to other places that handle aluminum, that handle paper and forestry, because this story just doesn't stop at steel. This is Repurposed.